What's up, Joe? What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Sports 360. I'm Jeff Fannell, and I'm here with my man, Rob Duran. Rob Duran Sports. What's up, Rob? How are you, man?
What's going on, man? What's going on?
Oh, man. Last week, we focused primarily on the New York teams, and, we talked a lot about the Yankees, the Mets, and the Knicks. And of the three, the Knicks continue, man, to show themselves. I mean, they're on a 9-game winning streak right now
Yes,
as we
sir.
speak. About to tip off against the Phoenix Suns, hopefully to make it a perfect 10. So we'll see about that. But they're continuing to play some good basketball. The Mets, on the other hand, maybe because I was bragging a little bit too much last week, I don't know, but they kind of hit the skids a little bit, getting swept by the Cubs. But they did take 2 out of 3 from the Nationals. And the Yankees are starting to play a little bit better. So, we'll keep an eye on the Yankees and the Mets. But man, we got to at the very least, as we start today's show, tip our hats to the New York Knicks.
That's right, man. I told you, the Knicks keep the lights on in New York when they're good, man. And they're continuing to play some phenomenal basketball. Julius Randle continues to be a force. And listen, those guys are playing hard, man. They're grinding out wins. They're blowing people out. They're doing everything during this streak. And hopefully they can maintain that as we head into the stretch run of the season.
Yeah, I mean, and look, we're coming down the stretch right now. The Knicks are in fourth place, half game up on Atlanta. So it's tight still. But, if the Knicks can stay that 4, 5, 6 slot, they can avoid the playing game and get themselves to a bona fide first round series without having to go through that gauntlet of a play-in. So that's what I'm hoping, Rob. You know what I mean? That they can just stay 4, 5, 6, and the higher the better.
Yeah, same here, man. I don't like the play-in. I'm a little worried about that because you never know. You can have a bad game at any time. So I need the Knicks to stay right there where they're at and just cruise into the playoffs.
Yeah, and one of the teams you and I were talking about a little while ago that right now is in the playoff format, the Washington Wizards, man. They've come out of nowhere and they've won 8 games in a row. And right now, they're looking like a team that, in that play-in situation, you would hate to go up against them. You got
Yeah,
Bradley Beal, second leading scorer in the league, I think, right? I think he's behind Steph right now.
yeah, right
Um,
behind. They're close
yeah,
too, I think.
yeah, they're real close. And then you got Russell Westbrook, who is just such a dynamic player and can put a triple double on you in his sleep. And if you have to play those guys in a one game, winner, takes all, mm, that's tough, man. Yeah,
That's
that's
a
tough.
that's a tall order, man, because it's wow. Because Bradley Beal could drop 50 on you without you even realizing he's dropping 50 on you. And like you said, Westbrook is a triple double machine. So I wouldn't want to face that team while they're hot because that's danger for any team.
Yeah, yeah. And just real quickly, man, in other basketball news, AD came back. Anthony Davis returned for the Los Angeles Lakers. He's on a minutes restriction as he, gets his conditioning together, but he's back and he's playing. And LeBron is supposedly not that far behind. So that's good news for Lakers fans. That's good news for the NBA, to see LeBron.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, man, have you missed LeBron since he's been out?
Honestly, the Knicks have been doing so well. I haven't even remembered that LeBron is out. But I'll say this: the competition out west, the dynamic players that they have. I know Jamal Murray went down, but the dynamic players that the West has on every single team, it seems like, it almost makes you not miss LeBron as much as maybe we originally thought we would miss LeBron James. So I think it's the level of talent that we see in the NBA, especially in the Western Conference. Man, sometimes you forget that LeBron James isn't playing because you see Steph Curry dropping 30 plus in however many straight games he did, or somebody doing something spectacular every night.
Yeah, Steph has been awesome, and you're right. There have been a lot of good players out west, really playing well. I got to tell you, man, I've missed Bron, man. I found myself last week, missing him and wanting to see him back on the court, which is strange for me. I mean, I'm a LeBron fan. Don't get me wrong, but I tend not to, get overly sentimental about guys. You know what I mean? And but I found myself missing Bronny a little bit. So I want to see him back out there, man. Because here's the thing, for real. Um, he's not going to be around that much longer. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Maybe 3 years, maybe. Um, I don't see him going much beyond that because I don't think LeBron is going to allow himself to get to a point where his skills are so diminished that he's sort of like how Michael Jordan was when Michael Jordan was on the Wizards.
Yeah. No, I don't
You know
think
what I'm
he'll
saying?
get that. Yeah, I don't think
Yeah.
he'll let it get to that point. He's one of those guys that he want to go out on top. And I think, if you're giving him 3 years, let's say the Lakers win the championship in 2 and their roster starts looking questionable after that for that third season, maybe he's a guy that says, okay, let's call it a
Yep.
career here. And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he has nothing to prove to anybody as far as I'm concerned. He's already done what he needs to do. Everything he's doing now is just padding onto the stats. So he has nothing to prove to anyone.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't. Well, I want to talk today about Madison Bumgarner and whether or not his game against the Atlanta Braves, second game of a doubleheader, which in this pandemic affected season means that the doubleheaders are 7 inning games. So he pitched a no hitter over 7 innings, and some people, including the Arizona Diamondbacks, Bumgarner's team, some are calling this a true no hitter, and others are saying it's not. And I'm going to turn it over to you. But before I do, I'm going to say right off the bat, this was not a no hitter. What do you have to say about it?
Man, so I've been struggling with this. I'm not going to lie. And I think I've come to the conclusion that I'm a 50-50 split. And I know that does nobody any favors.
Not really.
But man, so the MLB rule is basically, and I'll actually read it. I have it up in front of me. An official no-hit game occurs when a pitcher or pitchers allow no hits during the entire course of a game, which consists of at least 9 innings. So it's very out there. It has to be at least 9 innings. Now, obviously, this game was 7 innings because of the doubleheader rules since the pandemic stuff. It wasn't a game that was cut short by weather or some other type of disaster. So by the rule, no, it's not a no-hitter. Do I think it's a no-hitter? I think if we're going to credit Bumgarner with the no-hitter, and let's say this 7-inning rule is going to be something that's going to continue, I think MLB has to amend their rules or add a rule, whatever you want to do. And yeah, give them the credit for the no-hitter. Because at the end of the day, it is an accomplishment to hold the team to no hits for 7 innings, right? But per the rules, no, this is not a no-hitter. Do I believe he should be credited? Whew. Honestly, man, I think I would give it to him as long as MLB, like I said, if they're willing to adjust their rules and say, let's give the 7-inning no-hit, the 7-inning rule, we created this. We created this monster per se. Let's feed the monster. Let's adjust our rules. Let's create it that every no-hitter, that's 7 innings in that doubleheaders, are going to be no hitters from here on. But I think there has to be an amendment to the rule in order for it to count.
And see, for me, this comes down to the rule. And it's not because I'm a stickler for rules and all of that, but the rule is clear. You read it, right?
Yeah.
At least 9 innings, right? A pitcher or pitchers, that's how many innings they have to log in order to get credited with throwing a no-hitter. Bumgarner threw 7 innings. I don't know. Look, I went to law school, and the joke is, right, those who go to law school, people go to law school because they're not good at math. Now, that's not always true. I can do a little bit of math, and I can do enough math to know this. 7 innings is not the equivalent of 9 innings. Sorry. So, okay. To me, it's not that hard, Rob. Even lawyers could do this. It's not that hard. And so, in my mind, this is easy. This is not a no-hitter. Now, doesn't mean I don't understand the argument for those who believe that it should be a no-hitter. There were Diamondbacks players, Bumgarner's teammates, and the front office and the PR staff and everything else, they're out there saying this was a no-hitter. The players are saying this is a no-hitter. And a couple of players said, look, this game was scheduled for 7 innings. And it goes back to your point. This wasn't a game that was shortened by rain or snow or whatever. This wasn't a game where the power went out, right, after 7 innings or something like that. This was a scheduled 7-inning game. So, everybody knew coming into it, 7 innings, if someone's leading at the end of the 7 innings, that team wins. So everybody knew that coming in, and Bumgarner in that situation came in and threw a no-hitter. It should count. I get the logic, but that logic, for me, Rob, doesn't get us around the rule.
Yeah, I agree. I think baseball has to amend their rules if they're going to continue with the 7 innings. We don't know what's going to happen with the new CBA or anything like that just yet. But if they're going to continue the 7-inning doubleheaders, I think they do have to do some type of rule adjustment, similar to what they did with the no-hitters to begin with, where they kind of did a retroactive rule, and some pitchers actually lost no-hitters, back in the day because they amended the rule. So I think MLB has to decide, all right, are we going to continue the 7-inning doubleheaders? And if we are, then these things have to count as no-hitters. Are we going to see a no-hitter all the time? Probably not. It's tough to get to 7 innings of no-hit baseball, even though the Diamondbacks almost did it in 2 straight games. But that's an Atlanta Braves issue at that point. So,
that's probably the biggest story out of that doubleheader.
Yeah, they almost got no hit in 2 straight games. So we would have had a double controversy over here. So imagine that. But, if MLB is going to continue the 7-inning doubleheaders, then they need to adjust the rules and say, all right, these things are going to count, whether you have it separate from the 9-inning or 9+ inning no-hitters in the Hall of Fame or wherever you put the records, fine. But, something has to happen. But as far as what the rules state now, like you said, it has to be at least 9 innings.
Yeah, and to me that makes it clear. Now, but again, this is baseball, Rob. And so because it's baseball, we have these types of discussions and we run into things that don't make any sense. So for example, this is not a no-hitter, but it is, and it does go down in the books as a complete game and as a shutout. So baseball, on the one hand, treats this 7-inning game as it treats 9-inning games for purposes of shutouts and complete games, but treats it differently when it comes to whether or not it's a no-hitter. Does that make any sense? No. But
Nope.
all I can say to you on that is, what do you expect we're talking baseball. Like
That's
like Allen
right.
and I were saying, practice. We talking baseball, right? So it doesn't make any sense, right? So what do you think about that, though, Rob? Really, because on the one hand, we meaning baseball, say that this is a complete game and it's a shutout, just like if it was over a 9 inning game, but it's not a no hitter. How do you
Yeah,
reconcile those?
and I think that's what has people up in arms about. Let's give this guy the credit for the no hitter. If we're going to count everything else that he accomplished in this game, every single piece of it, might as well give him the no hitter at that point, because you're going to, like you said, you're counting it. It's a complete game in his record. It's a shutout for him, a complete game shutout. So it's like the guy didn't give up any hits though, so it's a complete game no hit shutout, but it's not a no hitter. So I think that's the part that has everyone going crazy, saying, okay, so baseball and the union, you both agreed to have official 7 inning games. You're going to count them as complete games, but the history books can't be touched because it's not a 9 inning game. So no hitter, but you get the complete game, you get the shutout, you go home happy, you got the win, but you're not going to make the history books. So, like you said, that's baseball for you.
Yeah, it is. It's baseball, but I don't believe that baseball should change the rule. I don't think they should even consider changing the rule, because I think that part of the specialness of a no hitter is, going through the 9 innings. I really do. Because what would we do now if for a 9 inning game that is called in the 8th inning because of rain, and that pitcher pitched 8 innings, one more than Bumgarner pitched in the 7th inning game. He's not getting credited with a no hitter under the current rule. So, and he would have pitched an inning more than Bumgarner. So that's why I think we have a problem here. You know what I'm saying? Because,
Yeah.
you know, but I think as well, Rob, that there's something about, you know, once you get to that 7th and especially the 8th and then into the 9th inning carrying a no hitter, the tension starts to mount. You feel it in the ballpark, you feel it over the television set. And I'm just not sure that same dynamic is at play in a 7 inning game. That's not little league, man. It's not little league. Come on, man.
Yeah,
I'm
and
gonna getting paid big league money. That's not little league, Rob.
it's funny you bring that up because there is a sort of tension when you have the 9 inning game, the full game. Because we talked about it off air. You start getting the alerts on the phone once the 7th inning hits, and then you get updated every half inning. Going into the 8th inning, X, Y, and Z has a no hitter through 8. And then when you get to that 9th inning, you kind of, as a fan, you start thinking to yourself, am I going to ruin the no hitter if I start watching the game? Should I just keep following it the way I am? Because and I don't remember. I don't know if I remember getting alerts for this no hitter or the non no hitter, the unofficial no hitter. Whatever. I don't even know what to call it.
Right.
So I don't remember getting alerts for this, and maybe we did. Maybe we did. I'm not sure. But it is a different feel when it's a 9 inning and a 7 inning game. So something has to happen, whether it's just cut out the 7 inning doubleheaders next season, and then we never have to have this argument again. Or, like I said earlier, maybe make an adjustment to the rule and keep it in a separate book from the 9 inning no hitters. I'm not sure. I have no idea, man.
Yeah. I mean, look, like I said, I believe clearly this is not a no hitter, but I will tell you this. There's a part of me, Rob, right now, that just wants to make a couple of phone calls and and produce some Madison Bumgarner no hitter T-shirts because I believe I can get some people to buy them. I believe it, man. He pitched a no-no. I don't know what I would say on the T-shirt, but I think I can get people to buy him.
You got to put a MadBum no hitter, and then real tiny at the bottom with an asterisk 7-inning game.
Yeah, got to
That'll
do
sell.
something.
There you go.
Put a little disclaimer on it.
Yeah.
But there'll be some people that would, snatch those things up, man. But look, for his, in his to his credit, Bumgarner kind of made fun of the whole thing, right? He
Yeah.
said, "Look, I thank the Shadows in Atlanta for helping me out because it was, he a game where it's Sunday afternoon into the twilight, and he said, I thank the Shadows, and then he says, I thank Rob Manfred for the 7-inning double headers." You know what I mean? So he kind of made light of it, and here's the thing: Madison Bumgarner, big time pitcher, no question about it. Not as good as he used to be, right? But certainly a big time pitcher. World Series champion, and the rest of it. And he's also one of those, you know, no nonsense kind of guys. I don't believe Madison Bumgarner wants this so-called no-hitter. I don't. I just don't. I
I
don't
want.
think
I
I don't think
100%
he's
agree
like
with
that.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's too much of a gamer, and we saw that in the World Series runs that he had with the Giants. The dude is just a gamer, and like you said, he's not what he used to be. He's declined a lot, and he's even had a rough year this year. This is his best outing in a long time. But I don't think he wants credit for the no hitter. I'm pretty sure he knows going into it, and even going into the seventh, he probably didn't have that no hitter mindset that pitchers normally have. So, I don't think he wants the credit for it. So, but he handled it like a pro. The interview he
Yeah.
did was definitely, he handled that like a pro.
Yeah. Yeah. So, sort of an interesting storyline coming out of Atlanta. And before we get off of this, I just want to piggyback on something you said earlier, and that is that Zach Gallen in the first game threw a one hitter for the Diamondbacks. And so, perhaps the biggest story out of all of this is that over the two games of that doubleheader, the Atlanta Braves had a total of one hit. And so, that's kind of remarkable, whether you're playing 7-inning doubleheaders or 9-inning doubleheaders, right? Their bats were silenced.
Yeah, and they need to figure something out because that's a loaded lineup, and to only muster out one hit in 14 innings, that's something.
Yeah. Yeah. So, we'll see. I mean, right now, the National League East, the Mets, one game over 500, and they're in first place. So it just lets you know that right now, the teams there are scuffling a little bit. But it is, as we said last week, it's early. I think it still is early. We're still in April, man. You know what I'm saying? It's kind
Yeah,
of hard to believe, but we're still in April. A couple of days left, but we're still in April. And it's a bit early, but yeah, the Braves need to get going, swinging the sticks. But I tell you this though, real quickly, man, one guy who doesn't have to work on swinging a stick is Fernando Tatis Jr. At least when he's playing the Dodgers, because man, you know, first of all, the Padres and Dodgers played again this weekend. Another really entertaining set. But Rob, Fernando Tatis has 7 home runs on the season, and I believe he has 6 of them against the Dodgers or something like that.
the dude is special, man. He is special, and I think it was last time we spoke, maybe, or the time before that, we were wondering if he was even gonna be back, and I think he's back in a big way. So,
Yeah,
man, but that game, the Padres and the Dodgers series in general, both series they've had, definitely must watch baseball, and I hope they continue to both play to the level they're playing. Like I said last time, I had to check the calendar to make sure it wasn't October yet, especially with the chill we've been feeling up here in the Northeast. But it's still April, and these guys are playing their hearts out. They're playing like it's playoff baseball. Yesterday's game, the Padres were down 7-1 and came back to win it. It is a crazy, crazy games, man. Exciting baseball between these two teams.
Yeah, and the thing I liked about it, I didn't get a chance to see much of this weekend set, but I did see some of the highlights, and who could have missed, right? Fernando Tatis, taking Bauer yard, right? And then as he's going around first base, look back at his dugout and cover one of his eyes right, with his hand, mimicking Bauer, right? When Bauer was, out there pitching with one eye closed, and then he wanted to make sure everybody knew it. So he put his hand over his eye. I thought that
Yeah.
was funny. And then he took Bauer deep again. What I thought was even funnier was his Conor McGregor walk after he touched home plate. I thought that was really funny. So to see that going on, and that was in the game, and then after the game, there was some good stuff between Bauer and Tatis as well.
Yeah, and you like to see that, man, because there's animosity between the two teams, but then we're seeing the fun side of baseball, which is the whole mantra of let the kids play, let them have fun. We're seeing that. The way Trevor Bauer and Tatis kind of went at it, it was nothing malicious. It was just playing around. And then the interview that Bauer had after, they asked him about it, and he said, "Yeah, I gave up the home run. The guy blasted 2 home runs off me. He can do whatever he wants. He owns it." So I love to see that, and he mentioned too, pitchers sometimes they want to throw at hitters and whatever. And he was like, "I'm not that kind of guy. If I give up the home run, the hitter has every right to celebrate, just like if I strike him out or I get him out in a big inning or something like that, I'm gonna do my celebration as well. So if I'm gonna be able to give it, I got to take it as well." So I think it's great to see that kind of gamesmanship between the two players and the two teams. So it's good for baseball. It's fun for baseball. And I love to see it. And I hope we continue to see it across the entire league, not just between these two teams and those two players.
Yeah. It was fun stuff. Other things real quickly, man. The Oakland A's were on a 13-game winning streak. Obviously, that was the longest in baseball so far in this season. That's about a month old. But here's the other thing, Rob. As we speak right now, the Oakland A's are 14-8. So they go on a 13-game winning streak, and they only have 14 wins on the season. So it shows you how badly they were struggling. But they did have, they did put together a pretty good streak there. So, they're sitting atop the AL West at the moment, off of that impressive streak. So, they've been playing some good baseball in the National League. The Milwaukee Brewers are playing some good baseball, and I think Milwaukee's a sleeper. I really do, and so I'm going to keep our eye on that. But also finally too, out in the American League, I think you got to feel a little bit better about your Yankees, don't you?
I do. I yelled at them a little bit last time we were on. I gave them a piece of my mind, and they've played a lot better. Defensively, they've done a lot better. Their hitters are starting to slowly come around. They played Cleveland. They split the Braves series, won 3 out of 4 against Cleveland. So they're playing a little better. They're going against Baltimore now in the series now. So they're turning the corner a little bit. Garrett Cole against Shane Bieber, that was must watch. And Garrett Cole took the Indians to task, man. He had a great game, and Bieber wasn't bad at all. He had a great game as well. But the Yankees were able to take that one. But I'm happy with the way they're playing lately. I hope they continue to build on that success. They kind of gave the game away yesterday, but that's a different conversation. But yeah, I'm happy. I'm going to continue to yell at them until they get over 500. So my rants aren't done yet, but I'll be okay. No need to. I won't show up on the news anytime soon. So we're good there.
Okay. Well, look, they're starting to show some signs that they are the New York Yankees. But again, I think a lot of the panic was certainly premature. Not saying you were panicking, but there were some old faithfuls up there in the Bronx that were starting to get a little nervous, and I think that was a little premature. But yeah, but they're starting to play good baseball. But baseball's going to start to heat up, I think, Rob. When we get into May, we get to Memorial Day and everything else, the first holiday of the summer. I think that's when we can really settle in and see how baseball is going to start to unfold. Because I think at that point, teams that are still playing kind of well right now, like look, the Pittsburgh Pirates are 11-11 as we
I
speak.
know.
You know what I mean? So that just lets you know. And I'm not trying to pick on Pittsburgh, but I'm picking on Pittsburgh. But you know, you know what I'm saying? So at some point that will change. And I think, as we get closer to Memorial Day, we'll start to see some teams start to assert themselves a little bit better as the weather gets better and all the rest of that. So we shall see, Rob. But all right, brother. Listen, we're gonna come back again. Keep our eye on the NBA as the season's coming down to the end, and keep an eye on our New York Knicks, man. They're about to go on a extended road trip. They got 2 more games at home tonight and Wednesday, and then they hit the road for I think 6. Right? I think they have a 6-gamer coming up.
I believe
That's
so.
going to be
Yeah.
important, right? So, but man, I'm telling you, I'm excited about the Knicks. And Rob, I'm going to give you the final word on this. We've been talking about Julius Randle, and rightfully so. Julius Randle has been outstanding. But I will tell you what, R.J. Barrett has been really impressive. Sometimes he's a little inconsistent, and sometimes he gets some inconsistent minutes because Thibodeau might keep him on the bench in the fourth quarter, for example, right? And other times he's playing down the stretch. But R.J. Barrett, I think, has really had an improved season and a good season for the Knicks.
Yeah, and I think it was to start the season. He started off really, really good, and he kind of tailed off a little bit. But the kid's only 20 years old, and I think people forget that. So he's still coming into his own as an NBA player, adjusting to the game. Obviously, it's a new system now with Thibodeau in there. But I like the kid, man. I know we missed out on Zion, and people feel like we settled for Barrett, but I think he's going to be a really, really good player moving forward, man. I'm happy with the way he's been playing, and I hope he continues, man. All this is going to do is give him experience. They're going to get into the playoffs, and he's going to get a lot more game experience and all this stuff. So look out for this kid, man, because he's going to be something special.
Yeah, man. And I tell you, he's worked on his shot. His shot is, first of all, it's better, but it also just looks better out of
Yeah.
his hand.
Yes.
He got that corner 3 down, you know what I mean? Which again, if you look, PJ Tucker has stayed in the league. He can play good defense and rebound. He's just tough as nails. But also too, his ability to hit that corner 3. There's some guys who've made careers out of being able to hit the corner 3. And Barrett is doing that, but Barrett is also just a very talented player, right? He was number 3 overall, right? Selection in the draft behind Zion and Morant.
Yeah.
But here's the thing I like about him, Rob, is that he keeps his composure because there are times in the game, like he might have a half where he's, first half he's 1 for 10, but you don't ever see him get down. You don't ever see him like force the issue. He plays within the game. And even if he's not having his best game, he's still competing. And, he finds a way to contribute and make a difference. Even because if the shot's not falling, he'll still stay with it. And
Yeah.
then he can turn it around. And next thing you know, he went from having only 2 points at halftime to finishing the game with 18 or 20,
Yeah, and that's impressive for a kid his age. 20 years
Yes.
old, still learning the game of basketball at the NBA level. That's
Yep.
impressive.
Yeah. So go New York, go New York, go. That's the New York Knicks theme song for those who don't know. So All right, brother. So listen, good catching up with you, and we look forward to coming back next week. We're going to hit him up again, Rob, with another edition of Sports 360.